with the sponsorship of the Gamma Group. Hello, welcome to Rumbo Minero. My name is Cesar Campos, and in this opportunity, I will be conducting this program alone since Jorge Leon Benavides and our producer Miguel Zavala are still in the city of Trujillo, where the 15th version of the National Mining Congress has been held. The 15th version of the National Mining Congress, organized by the Peruvian College of Engineers of Peru, and I will do so with very important guests, such as economist Alejandro Indacochea, with whom we are going to discuss the topic of the week. The announcement made by Petroperu's board of directors to enter into a true and deep restructuring of the company, of the state-owned company, a debt of $6.5 billion that the company can no longer support it. The sale of assets has been announced, as well as the reduction of personnel, which at least to me causes me some doubt. I know from history the strength of Petroperu's workers' unions, of Petroperu. I understand that there may be a focus of social conflict there, which I hope the board of directors is also aware of. The board of directors is also aware of it. Facing a reduction of personnel by a third and the sale of assets, and also the sale of assets such as the head office located in San Isidro, and also other places of recreation. We will talk more about this with Alejandro Indacochea. Also on the subject of President Dina Boluarte's trip to the People's Republic of China. What are the implications for our country? Likewise, we will be passing on a report prepared by our producer Miguel Zavala, who was invited to Spain by the Spanish Association of Manufacturers of Machinery for Construction, Public Works and Mining. A reverse mission of journalists to visit Spanish manufacturers with presence and interest in the Peruvian market and interest in the Peruvian mining market. Always in the eye of major national and international events. Let's go immediately with Gabriela Chicoma on the main mining news of the week.
These are the main mining news of the week.
Roque Benavides, chairman of the board of Compañía de Minas Buenaventura, said that the port of Chancay will play a crucial role in the country's economic recovery. According to Benavides, this past year promises to be one of recovery, favored by lower inflation levels and an increase in private investment, following a series of recent challenges, including political instability, the pandemic, and last year's climate impacts. The trip started by the President of the Republic, Dina Boluarte, to the People's Republic of China, was highlighted by the Minister of Energy and Mines, Rómulo Mucho, because it will strengthen economic relations and trade links between both nations, which should include technology transfer, which is widely developed by the Asian giant.
Many thanks to Gabriela Chicoma for the main mining news of the week, as we had announced. It is a pleasure to welcome a friend of the house, Dr. Alejandro Indacochea, economist and director of Indacochea Asociados. We are going to talk, as we had also anticipated, about Petroperu's situation. These announcements of asset sales and a restructuring of the companies, the management of the state-owned oil company, as well as the President Dina Boluarte's trip to China. Alejandro, it is always a pleasure to have you on our...
Thank you for the invitation.
Program. Cesar, a pleasure to be on Rumbo Minero. Good. The announcements have been made. The path has been laid out by Oliver Starr, the current head of Petroperu's board of directors. What is missing is the decision from both the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Energy and Mines and at the level of the board of shareholders. But it is a fact that the long-awaited recomposition of Petroperu will come.
I would like to express my support and recognition to Petroperu's board of directors. It has had two merits. The first one, to have come clean about the situation.
Thank you.
It has had two merits. First, to have come clean about the situation, and second, to propose a plan of action already in the short term of the country. He should have the backing of the month and the Ministry of Energy and Mines. I hope that this will be the case. I do not think that Arista, again, in an anodyne position, will be before the pressures and we will come to nothing. And in the case of the Ministry of Energy and Mines, the same. Because the lot that Petroperu has should be returned to Peru Petro and should not remain in the hands of a company that is practically bankrupt, has no resources, has neither the resources nor the technical capacity to exploit an oil lot.
Alejandro, there has been talk of reducing Petroperu's personnel by 1/3. What worries me is that there is a very old union organization there, very strong, very strong union organization there, and very relational because it says that they have conquered rights, that obviously it is not going to be easy to get rid of all the personnel.
Let's go by parts. I believe that the short-term plan put forward by the board of directors is the right one. 51 management, possible. You are talking about a downsizing program. I haven't included the life charter because it's one of the few fantasy islands in the country that receive a life charter. They retire with readjustable session, transfer to logging, sale of non-productive assets. The club here in Monterrey with several assets that have to be liquidated now, an austerity plan, an austerity program. But that is in the short term. The question is still open, and I am concerned about the medium to long term. But
to speak until 2028, at least to leave things in a healthy state?
What we expect in 2028? Until 2028. I agree with the short-term plan already, but Petroperu is no longer a strategic company. It is strategic for the employees, because then what are they going to do? Evidently, Velascaro's concept of strategic company and Petroperu lost market share. It has less than 28% of the market share. It is argued that it serves remote areas. Let us not worry. Petroperu is broke. The debt is 4 times the equity. Right now it is impossible. Those who talk about privatization do not know what they are proposing. What private investment is going to put one soul in Petroperu if there is no equity? The proposal does include private management, which is something else. But until private management arrives and the company is relaunched, how much is it going to cost the country? I have another position. My position is that Petroperu, as it is, should enter into a restructuring process with Indacochea. What is being done? Liquidate assets. Refinery in Talara, relaunch it. It is right to carry out the investigation. To whom has it corresponded? What is the responsibility? As a refinery, turned out to cost 4 times the original cost, 3 times the time since its origins. It is necessary to see who is responsible. But nowadays that is customary. What we should do is auction it, enter into a decision process, and have someone take charge of the restructuring.
It is before Cesar Gutierrez, former president of Petroperu, also raised it here in Rambo Minero. But come on, if we add up the parts, only the central building, the one located on Canavale and Morera with the expressway, it is said that it has a valuation of no more than 100 million. But the unmade debt...
It is my client, a million, it is impossible. He speaks then to bet on relaunching Petroperu, to restructure it, and between now and 2028, to privatize it with 49% of shares still. What businessman in his right mind, oil company is going to participate in a company with less than 50%, with less than 50% with the state, knowing Petroperu's experience? This is not possible. Then here my difference comes with waiting until 2028. I believe that we should proceed now. Talara, auction the fixed assets. And if we do something interesting, the attention to the remote areas, let us auction the service. Let's subsidize the service. That is to say, if there are several operators, to say who gives me the best service at the lowest price.
Service at the lowest price before 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it had 50%. Now it has a large part, not even 20% of presence in the distribution of fuel distribution. So it is another myth that sometimes has been created within the training and production functions.
Manipulation and have not been clear. I believe that this board of directors, I reiterate, has had the sincerity, because I see many directors giving their opinion. But my question is the following. When they were in charge of Petroperu, there was no problem. So we have to give them support, and I hope that the month will give it to them. But we cannot bet on 2028 to continue losing in the country.
The trip of the President of Denmark to the People's Republic of China, a trip that has always sown with controversy for political reasons, more than for direct and practical reasons. She could not renounce a personal invitation, which, as the Chancellor rightly said, could not be endorsed by anyone else. Very well, it's culminating, and there have been a number of announcements, but give us an overview from your point of view. Give us an overview from your point of view. Let's say as concretely as possible what advantage we have from this presidential trip.
Look, the trip had to be made. I have no great expectation that the lady understands what it means. The electric cars, the technology, no, she's not going to get to it. But if there is something important, it means for China and for us. Traditionally, the Pacific Rim has been held by the United States geopolitically. China is moving forward with the Silk Corridor. And within that route, with the Silk Corridor, Shanghai is strategic. Why? Because it is going to be the nexus between Asia and South America, with ships of 50,000 tons that today do not arrive, and it is necessary to transship from Manzanillo or from California to here, and a saving of 12 to 15 days, which is money. Ecuador is thinking of bringing its bananas and cocoa by land and ship it through Shanghai. Colombia does not have an FTA and wants a free trade zone. Bolivia, we are the natural exit. Brazil, not to mention Brazil in the south, the road to the industrial zone has already been made. Matarani would be the exit. Shanghai, and goes directly to Asia, because today Brazil has to go through the Panama Canal or through Southern Africa.
No, that's money. All the western part of Brazil, the one that is closer, everything that is closer to us, their own governors have come to Peru and they are also interested in not only increasing the land route to be able to provide a flow of trade, but also a trade flow, but also a railroad that Peru would not be able to do it. The trip to China also meant, I hope I knock on the door of China, we can build
long. Pucallpa with Crucero de Azul are two twin cities, less than 100 kilometers. It is a project of 30 years ago. The railroad that could come from Crucero de Azul Pucallpa and leave through Shanghai, not to mention Chile. That is why the reaction. Although Lacay never told us who his client was, who had contracted him, because he put an anonymous association in November, but we already had an intuition. For Chile, it's very far away. It is at the other extreme. It cannot compete with us. The mining companies are contemplating bringing the mineral through Shanghai and make a whole corridor, which will imply a challenge for the Peruvian business sector.
And we still have a long way to go.
Hopefully we are still in the running, because in this geopolitical competition, let us note that the United States announced to build a cattle ranching base in Piura. It is a good time for them to compete. That is the strategy.
That is the strategy we have to have as a country. Do not impose either this prurience that today we have to keep the only and the best relationship with the United States. I have long since abandoned
with
that
the other
principle.
extreme, neither with the Chinese contractors. There are serious corruption problems here as well. That is why we need a strong state, a well-structured state.
Indeed, and the action of the regulators so that this can work. Finally, Alejandro, time is always short, talking to you about so many interesting things. April reported an unusual growth, even for some that have improved, even the approach. The Central Reserve Bank's approach to GDP growth this year was 5.8. This is a bit economic, as you have said. This is a rebound effect. How long can growth be sustained?
Look, without being pessimistic, I believe that there is a trend this year to go 3%, but that 5% is that the rebound has been very strong, the statistical rebound. The expectation is that in spite of that, with the high prices of the minerals, look, Peru is a country of opportunities.
That is the fundamental issue. Hopefully,
Peru is the country of lost opportunities. The price of copper, $5 free of copper. And the projection is that in the next few years, the demand is going to increase tremendously. We are sitting on a copper bank. $50 billion in copper mining projects, and we are letting them pass us by.
Copper bank is more important today than any other,
to any other side. And we have to contribute what we have.
Is development, changing energy price for electric cars, everything that makes individuals what?
What we need is political stability, citizen security, and a frontal fight against corruption. The political aspect is horrible in the country.
Help will not be the subject of another video. It is always a pleasure to have you, and we will talk about these issues also in a future opportunity. Thank you very much for being on Rumo Minero. We have talked to Alejandro Indacochea, who is an economist and director of Indacochea Asociados. Let's go with Gabriela Chicoma. Information about Expomina 2024.
Thank you very much. Expomina Peru from September 11th to 13th, 2024 will be chaired by Luis Rivera, Executive Vice President of Goldfields Las Americas. Highlight your brand through the different sponsorships we offer at Expomina Peru. Networking opportunities, participation in exclusive activities, promotion in the media, among other important benefits. For more information, visit our website www.expominaperu.com.
As we had announced, we are going to present in this block the special produced by Miguel Zavala, who was invited in Spain by the Spanish Association of Manufacturers of Machinery for Construction, Public Works and Mining in a reverse mission of journalists to visit Spanish manufacturers with a presence of interest in the market. But don't miss it, and we present it below.
Thanks for the pass. We are here in Spain on the Spanish Association of Construction, Public Works and Mining Machinery Manufacturers Reverse Journalist Mission of the Year, in collaboration with ISEX, in which we have been able to visit 10 Spanish manufacturers of machinery and equipment related to mining and construction. It is worth mentioning that Rumbo Minero and Peru Construye were the only Spanish-speaking media invited to this important event. Well, now I want to leave you with the report and the interviews conducted here in Spain. Go ahead.
Last year's reverse mission of journalists took place from June 10 to 14. Organized by the Spanish Association of Manufacturers of Machinery for Construction, Public Works and Mining, Anmopyc, in collaboration with ISEC, an entity of the Spanish government, for the promotion of Spanish companies and products at the international level. In this mission, a group of journalists from different parts of the world were able to visit various regions of Spain, getting to know the offer and novelties of various Spanish manufacturers related to the construction and mining sectors.
It is worth mentioning that Rumbo Minero and Peru Construye were the only Spanish-speaking media invited to this international event.
Continuing with our visit here for this reverse mission of journalists from the year of the Spanish Association of Manufacturers of Machinery for Construction, Public Works and Mining. Jorge, let's first thank you for the exclusive invitation to Rumbo Minero to this reverse journalist mission.
Well, I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you for coming from Peru to Spain to get to know the offer of construction machinery and leather goods manufacturers that we have in our country.
Jorge, tell us about your objectives.
What is the objective of this reverse mission of journalists? The main objective is to make our industry better known in Peru. We know the importance of your magazine in Peru. We know the audience you have, the readers you have, and that's why we think you are a very important loudspeaker of the latest developments and technological advances that we are producing right now.
Tell us a little bit about how important the Latin American market is, obviously also including the Peruvian market for Spanish suppliers. Peruvian market for Spanish suppliers.
Latin America, Peru, by tradition, by language, by history, have always been priority markets for us. They still are. If we focus on Peru specifically, you have a great mining force, which makes it a very attractive country. We know from the evolution that you are having in recent years. And Peru, without any doubt, is among your objectives. And, well, we talked a little while ago about the possibility of participating in your fair. And, of course, it is something we are going to value.
That's perfect. Tell us also a little bit about how the companies are chosen so that we can visit them or learn about the products, a little bit about the criteria, the interest that these companies have.
We have been organizing this mission for some time. This is not a work of a few weeks, but of months. We inform our associates of the magazines that are coming, and undoubtedly one of the ones that is arousing more interest is yours for covering a market like the one you are covering. And basically, depending on the type of products of the members and what you cover as a magazine, they choose some magazines or others.
That's perfect. Ready, Jorge? Thank you very much for being in Rumbo Minero again, and thank you again for this special invitation to the magazine. Continuing with our tour here in Spain, we are now in the Basque country visiting Ulma's facilities, and we are with the presence of John Aguiriano. He is a strategic marketing manager. John, how are you? Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for inviting Rumbo Minero and Peru Construye to visit ULMA's facilities in Spain.
Thank you for the invitation and for sharing with us this morning.
Although ULMA is an important supplier of solutions for the construction sector, we would like you to tell us a little bit about the engineering and support that you provide to your clients, since you not only commented at the conference about providing equipment, but also about accompanying the clients. Not only supplying equipment, but also accompanying the customer in special projects and attending to them in a personalized way.
We manufacture here in Spain, we manufacture the systems, the equipment, all the formwork, scaffolding and shoring. But then that has to be applied in the projects in a specific way, in a concrete way. And that is where we have a differential in that we are close to the client, to the needs in which we apply those systems. Where we apply these systems, we have supervision, on-site assistance, all the logistics, the supply of equipment on time, which is key to obtain good productivity and profitability in the projects.
Another part that also interested me a lot in what you mentioned at the conference is the issue of digitization. How has digitization influenced the issue of providing such equipment?
Increasingly, in the end, these are mistakes, as we call them, but behind them there has to be some help. But there must be some aids that more and more in the world in which we live come from the digital era. So in this aspect, if we are implementing what are interrelations with customers, the Mayorma we call it, which is all the interrelationship in the project with the customer based on to have a common space, to live there or to share there all the technical documentation, project documentation, delivery notes, invoices and so on. All that would be the administrative part, let's say, of the administrative part, let's say, of project management. Then there is another series of digital services in terms of scanners, for example, to apply, to measure a structure, a building, a petrochemical facility using a scanner, a petrochemical facility using a scanner, scaffolding application software and so on. More and more trying to make life easier or take advantage of the new digital tools that are in our midst.
Finally, John, on the subject of the Peruvian market, ULMA has a very important presence there in Peru, both in the mining sector and in the construction sector. How important is Peru for you as ULMA Spain?
We have been in Peru for more than 20 years exactly. I don't know if it is 23 years. We are there constantly working with different delegations in Peru. I have been there for 15 days now. For example, we usually go there to coordinate, to see what needs there are, presence in fairs. Peru is very important for us, and we see that we are also important there. Within the world of construction, both residential and non-residential, civil works, industrial maintenance, for example, mining as well, the execution of mines, the installation of equipment, the maintenance of that equipment.
Now we are in the company Solintal, and we are joined by Daniel Chavarri, Operations Director. Daniel, how are you? Welcome.
Good morning. How are you? Nice to welcome you here.
Tell us a little bit about Solintal. We know it is an important Spanish company in everything that has to do with the manufacture of parts for machinery, for mining and construction.
Solintal is already lately more and more known in the mining and construction sector. We already have 62 years of experience in the sector, and we are mainly focus on the manufacture of parts through steel.
Right. Tell us a little bit about what kind of parts are the ones that you manufacture for the mining sector.
Our main business, about 85%, is focused on the production of buckers, mining buckets, up to about 55 or 60 cubic meters.
That is correct. We also know that you manufacture buckets for mining trucks.
Yes, lately we are increasing our production of hoppers for mining trucks. For example, Komatsu 785, Caterpillar 7777, up to 100 tons.
How many pieces per month do you manufacture?
Well, on average, focusing on the issue of the bakers, the buckets, We manufacture around 50 mining buckets.
For mining, that's right, of machinery. Tell us a little bit about Solintal's global presence.
Solintal, practically 90% of its work is export, 90%. We manufacture mainly for OEMs, which distribute the machinery throughout the world. And apart from that, we have a lot of contact with other types of end customers. For example, Samain in Peru, we manufacture Hitachi buckets for them, buckets for Hitachi.
Perfect, Daniel. Thank you very much for being here. And we are joined by Jose Miguel Martinez, your general manager. Jose Miguel, how are you? Welcome to Rumbo Minero. Good morning and good morning, Rumbo Minero. Tell us, Jose Miguel, a little bit about the history of the company, how MPC Air Compressors was born.
The company was originally founded in the 25th year of the last century. And for the last decade and a half, we have been developing under the license of MPC, which is our own brand, equipment such as the one we have here, intended for the mining and emergency assistance sectors.
Tell us a little about the equipment you handle, both for the mining sector and for the construction sector.
They are power generation equipment that provide both compressed air and electric power generation, single-phase, three-phase, with the option of integrating a motor welding and electrode cutting equipment. This equipment is characterized mainly by its reduced size. Low weight due to their high percentage of light materials such as aluminum.
Mining, is there any possibility of expanding the market in Latin America as well?
We are working on it due to the collaborations we have with different partners in the different countries where we collaborate, both with customers and sales agents.
Could you also tell us a little more about what other equipment or what other models of equipment you also sell?
We have equipment designed especially for drilling and drilling rigs in open pit mines, which is the Iolo XXX, XXXX, and XXXX equipment with a high performance in air production, reaching 2,600 liters per minute and pressures up to 16 bars. The characteristic of this equipment is that we avoid the use of compressors towed by trailer, making the compressor is integrated into the vehicle, the person and the tools, making this application much more versatile. Versatile and safe, especially safe, avoiding the fact of having to tow a trailer and having it sleep on the street.
Perfect, Jose Miguel. Thank you very much for your invitation to Rumbo Minero here in Zaragoza. In that opportunity, I meet David Diaz. He is responsible of research in the area of construction and mining here at the Instituto Tecnológico de Aragón. Tell us a little about the Instituto Tecnológico de Aragón.
ITI is a technology center. We are in Zaragoza. Zaragoza is the fourth city in Spain, which is between Madrid and Barcelona. And we are here 300 people working in technological innovation with the idea of serving companies and improving their competitiveness. It is a public technology center under the government of Aragon, which is the region where we are, Aragon. And as I was saying, we generate knowledge and technological innovation to transfer it to companies.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the projects you are currently working on related to construction and mining.
I would now highlight two projects. A first project, which is the main project in Europe for the development of construction machinery with hydrogen fuel cell. Fuel cell construction machinery. We have recently won a call from the European Commission, which is going to finance the development of two prototypes of heavy machinery powered by fuel cell, a loader and a mobile station recycled from concrete waste. We are working together with other European and Spanish partners to develop these prototypes to operate autonomously for several hours, specifically 1,000 hours, with hydrogen fuel cell. That would be a project that we coordinate here from Elita, from Zaragoza, and that is being pioneered in the European continent. And then we also have other projects in Europe, especially in mining, where we are working on making the machines that travel through tunnels or mines autonomous.
Do you think that in time there will be greater receptivity to these new technologies in which you are currently involved, in which you are currently researching?
We are already noticing it. We are noticing more and more receptivity, more interest, and companies are approaching us to learn about these technologies and see what their potential is. Perhaps there is a main barrier, which is the business culture, that there are certain obstacles and also the regulations. Today, putting a robotic machine in a robotic environment is not easy because of the regulations that still exist. It's not easy because of the regulations that still surround it. But it is true that the new regulations that are coming out in Europe and other continents are already inventing the basis so that these autonomous machines can operate. But my feeling is that more and more the interest is growing, and I also think that the first place where these technologies are going to work in a real will be in the industrial sector. And I think the first place where these technologies are going to work in a real way is going to be
David,
in the
thank you very much for being on Rumbo Minero.
Mining. Nothing to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks to Miguel Zavala for this important special that he demonstrates, ratifies the interest of many suppliers at the international level to have a presence in the Peruvian market. This interest continues, but as we have always said here with Jorge Leon Benavides, we also ratify it with Miguel Zavala himself. It is necessary to maintain a attraction status for foreign capital, for investment, and of course the presence of important producers and suppliers that have to do with and are linked to the mining industry in our country. We leave immediately with Gabriel Lachicoma with more information about ExpoMin.
Thank you very much. ExpoMina Peru, the largest and most important mining meeting in Peru in 2024, with 16 years of experience, do business with the mining sector in Peru and America. ExpoMina Peru from September 11th to 13th of 2024 at the Exhibition Center Yoke in Lima. Portfolio of mining projects in Peru for more than $53 million, and portfolio of mining projects in America for USD, dollar USD, dollar USD, dollar USD, USD, dollar USD. Invest with the leaders. Participate in next year's ExpoMina Peru. For more information, check our website www.expominaperu.com.
We have come to the end of our program, and it has been, as you could appreciate, very important to economist Alejandro Indacochea about Petro's situation. But in this program, for a long time, we have been insisting on the importance, the transcendence of the need to Petroperu's figures. There has been a lot of deceit, a lot of self-deception too, it must be said, from the executives of this state-owned company. And certainly a debt equivalent to $6.5 billion is not easy to bear on one's shoulders. In any case, Indacochea has given us a roadmap in which there is a coincidence with the former Petroperu head, Cesar Gutierrez Peña, that it should be Indacochea. That Indacochea should be the one to participate in a process of liquidation of the company itself, or evaluation process, especially for the sale of its assets and the signing of a private management that would probably give better indicators to the company's production, to the production of this company. My name is Cesar Campos, and we are going to take a short break. Do not forget, we move on to the Peru Construido program. Don't miss it.